You know, the gift of grace is a wonderful, wonderful, powerfully beautiful, and wonderful thing. I'm sitting here looking out the window and I'm observing the beauty of the Most High's sun, the bright light from this celestial source that He has, as they say, hung in the sky, and how it illuminates everything, and also at the same time it produces this warmth that is just beautiful to the body, the warmth of the sun touching us. And again, the light, and it's exposing even dark stuff, this light coming from the sun. And I'm realizing that it is grace, it is by His grace that I'm even able to see this light, that I'm able to feel the warmth of this light source called the sun, S-U-N. Because when I look at the chronology, the history of my life, there have been so many times known unto me, and even probably that many more or more so times in my life that I didn't know, that I should have or even could have been destroyed. You know, when I was much younger, stuff that I would get into deliberately, where I could have been taken out in car crashes. It could have been some drug overdosing. Could have been some bad drugs that I had gotten a hold of that could have taken me out. It could have been some bad people that I was keeping company with that could have been part of my demise. It could have been a house explosion. It could have been any number of things. It could have been somebody stabbing me, gunshots, whatever, just from being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and or just, again, being around the wrong people in the wrong situation. But thanks be unto the Most High, the giver of grace, that I'm still here. I could have had STDs, but thank you, Yahuwah, that as far as my health has shown up to this point in my life, I have none of that. In fact, I just heard in my Ruach, no, I don't have any of that. And I thank the Most High for it. Even having gone through a major life-changing event called a divorce, and that divorce really being on the heels of both of my parents dying 3 months apart from one another. I could have given up on life, especially when I looked at how all of that affected my children, and dealing with what the world calls a justice system, and how inequitable, unjust that system actually can be, particularly in this country. And so much being affected all at once: my spirit, my finances, my home stability. Of course, again, seeing the impact of all this stuff on the family. And at the same time, I was going through some major changes at work, because the whole work structure and the politics surrounding my job, all of that changed at the same time, and everybody's jobs were on the line. They were on the hook. And it was just so much thrown at me all at once that I could have lost my mind. I could have given up. In fact, I found out that during the same time that I was going through my divorce with my ex, her sister's brother, or excuse me, her sister's husband, I should say, at that time, they were going through their own divorce. Her sister was divorcing her guy, and that dude ended up taking his life. I never met him, but he ended up taking his life. But grace, through everything that I was going through all at once, grace gave me strength. Grace gave me a resolve. Grace gave me peace. Grace gave me enough view of the faith that the Most High has given me to hold on, to get through, to get to something else, because I knew there was more for me. And even right now, being tempted at times, sexually, being tempted morally, being tempted to go out and try to reach for what man calls a higher payday, higher paying jobs, even though I praise the Most High, I've got a really good position, but, and I enjoy it. But the enemy always says, hey, you can get about so much more, look at that. But the Most High says, sit down, be still, be still. And I have learned because of grace to listen to the Most High, because his favor, his grace, that comes in us being obedient, is well more than anything that we as mere men can anticipate and try to plan for ourselves. In other words, the reward is in being obedient, and he gives me grace to be obedient. Why do I say that? It's because so many times I have proven to be disobedient, but by his grace, he instructs me, he shows me the wrongs that I've committed, the errors of my ways and my thoughts, in my practices, whether they be speech or outright actions with my hands, written, again, verbal, thoughts, whatever it is. His grace is implemented in his correction of me. His grace is demonstrated in the fact that he's still talking to me, that he's still walking with me. That's a gift. He just gave me this reminder because he was talking to me about this earlier. Everybody doesn't get the gift. Halal Yahuwah. Everybody does not get the gift. Everybody does not get the same gifts, perhaps. But I have been given the gift of grace. And for that, I am thankful for that gift. My mother, my father, my grandparents, all of my family, really, because my family, they surrounded us. They taught us stuff. And we grew up in church. But my family taught us, when anybody does anything good for you, something nice for you, what do you tell them? You tell them thank you. So Abba Yahuwah, thank you for your grace. Thank you for the gift, because you don't have to give the gift. You did not have to intend for the gift to be given to me, but you did. And I just want to give us two scriptures to remind us that grace is indeed a gift. If you go to Ephesians, the 2nd chapter, verses 8 through 9, Ephesians 2, 8 through 9. And I'm reading from the Hallelujah scriptures, but if you read from the KJV, the King James, you'll get the same essence here. But it reads, starting with verse 8, Ephesians 2, verses 8 through 9. For by favor, which grace is literally defined as favor. And if you just look up what favor really means, man, see, everybody doesn't get favor. That's designed for certain ones, based on the one who desires to give the favor. For by favor, grace that is, you have been saved through belief, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of Yahuwah. The favor is a gift. It is not by works, so that no one should boast. So the salvation is not by works. It's a gift given. It's the favor that comes from the Most High. 2 Corinthians, the 12th chapter, verses 8 through 9, basically tells us the same thing. That his grace is sufficient for us in everything that we might have to endure. Whether it's temptations, whether it's outright sin, deliberate sin that we've committed, grace shows up. Grace shows up to help wash away those sins to get us beyond the sin mindset. Grace also shows up even before we commit the sins, just when we're thinking of it, when the temptation is there. Grace shows up to help us see something, to help us hear something, to help us realize something that then turns us away from committing those errors. I am thankful for grace. And that's all I want to say. Father, I am thankful for your grace, for it is by your grace that I am saved. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And so it is.